Good morning. It is the Hump Day Happy Chat. Hump Day Happy Chat coming at you live. So excited to be here with you. Another Wednesday has gotten off to a beautiful start in this northern hemisphere of the West. I know it's been a beautiful start already for some of you. It's Hump Day Happy Chat. Yay, yay, yay. 8:30 a.m. Pacific, which is where the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery is. I am Valerie Shepard, founder and CEO of the center, or the Hartley as we call it for short. And I'm very excited to be here on this yet another Wednesday Hump Day Happy Chat. Yay, we made it, another week. It's nice to be grateful to make it another minute, let alone another week. I'm grateful for that. It's not promised me, and I am so happy to be here. And many blessings to you. Hi, and thank you for joining me. Today is Friday used to be my favorite day of the week, and then it became Saturday because I had fun the night before and I didn't have to get up the next day either. And now it's evolving. Wednesday is a lot of fun because I get to do these little vignettes and get comments and messages and questions from people. And every now and then a new client, and that's really awesome. But mostly just to share my heart and thoughts, ideas, things that want to be shared. Things that want to be shared with you. Yay! So hello and welcome to this segment of the Hump Day Happy Chat, coming at you live every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific here on my Facebook page. And you can always join me at my YouTube channel where they are posted after the fact. You can share them, you can subscribe. I would love that. Share them and subscribe, and we'll keep pumping out the wisdom, baby. And so today, this is a big one. Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining. Today is this is an important week in the calendar, right? Monday, the 23rd, marked the fall equinox. That is huge. It's like in the calendar, and when we think about time, the equinoxes mark when there's equal time, equinox, equal time of daylight and nighttime, or light and dark are harmonized and even. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So it marks the beginning of fall, which is, for a very important reason, my favorite season of the year. I'm from a different climate than the one in which I'm living right now. And I love fall. I've always loved when the air gets a little bit crisper and the leaves start to change and drop, and the depth of the beauty within nature it's like she turns into a peacock and just shares so much. So the fall equinox is an important time in the calendar. It marks a really important time for me, the start of Libra. So being a Libran, I love Libra. The start of Libra begins on the fall equinox. It's a very spiritually significant day for many. Libra is kind of this time of year when the scales are balancing, right? When we're looking forward, looking backward, we're giving thanks for the harvest and preparing for the end of this calendar period. Many people will use the fall equinox as a time to honor Mother Earth, and in many different traditions, whether they be Wiccan or other traditions, there are very special ceremonies that honor Mother Earth. I like doing honoring of Mother Earth every day, but you know what I mean. there can be some very ceremonial experiences around the equinox. So I encourage and invite you to celebrate your ongoing harvest. Give thanks for what has shown up and created in your life. You can eat seasonal fruits and veggies. You can do gratitude rituals and meditations. The whole point is that the fall is a time of harvest, and to celebrate what is being harvested into your world, into your life, the light of the harvest that's coming into your space. And so what a perfect time, fall equinox, celebrating the harvest, what a perfect time to ask a question that's less about the harvest than how did the harvest get here? And the question, which is the title of today's Hump Day Happy Chat, it's a self-mastery question. What seeds are you sowing? What seeds have you been sowing that has resulted in that which you are experiencing as your harvest right now? Very good question. Yes. I don't know what that accent was about, but it felt good. Time of the harvest. So harvest is always coming from previously planted seeds, previous tilling of the soil, previous watering, previous fertilizing. Morning, thanks for joining. Previous tilling of the soil, previous fertilizing, and that question remains, what seeds are you sowing? Then the other side of the equation for some people who aren't necessarily standing in their own empowered self, what seeds are you allowing to be sown into your soil? Are those seeds the kind that will bring the harvest that you can't wait to bite into? Like, this harvest is going to be exquisite. Or are they potentially seeds of being somewhat asleep at the wheel of your life? Are they somewhat seeds where you're not minding what kind of energy is coming to you from others, right? What seeds are you allowing to be sown into your soil? So let's talk about this. Am I allowing myself or allowing others in my space to be sowers of discontent, to be sowers of seeds I don't want to harvest? Like, what are those seeds? So know that these seeds can be in many different forms. So there are sowers of discontent who themselves are discontent, and they aren't comfortable being discontent all alone. So they're going to kind of rope you in, and they're going to invite you to join in that with them. So they try to get you riled up against something, against others, against a situation in your life. They try to get you riled up. You might be a sower of that discontent. I'll talk to you about that. Something I've noticed about myself, which I call negative conjuring. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So there are others who may try to get you riled up about something. Potentially someone who stirs up trouble, trying to get you to unrest. They disrupt your peace. They disrupt your opportunity for happiness. They can't really disrupt your happiness. That's a choice you make. But they can certainly disrupt the opportunity, take you off track. You're all of a sudden, instead of looking this way, you're looking out there, looking back there, looking over there. So they're sowing the seeds of discontent that disrupts your opportunity to notice that there's happiness right there for you to choose. They may be causing division. Maybe they're inciting division. Maybe they're wanting all the time to point out how someone slighted you and you get caught up in it, or how you might have slighted someone else, or how they're just not doing what they should be doing for you. And you might not have even noticed it, but then it's all of a sudden like, oh, well, I never thought of it that way. Maybe I should have thought of it that way. Maybe maybe they're right. Maybe somebody is harming me, or betraying me, or talking about me, or gossiping about me, right? Maybe they're sowing the seeds of jealousy. So potentially they feel a loss themselves. I've been there. I feel my own sense of loss. And so I have trouble looking at everybody else and their sense of abundance. I know that has been going on with my physical body, right? The when I see what is not so in the present that was so in the past, I can get in a space of mourning, in real fertile ground for discontent around loss and what is no more. Not necessarily that won't also come back, but in this moment, it just isn't anymore. So you could be caught up in that jealousy, loss, and sadness. Maybe they're a person who's been hurt themselves and they haven't moved on. So when we're hurt and we haven't moved on, everything we see and experience is through that experience. It's actually being filtered through the hurt. And when we're filtering our experiences through the hurt, through a sad time, through grieving, through loss, it's very difficult to see the fertile ground, to see the beautiful seeds that are wanting to get our attention. It's hard to see that when we're looking through that particular lens. So from a bitter, unhealed perspective, from a sad, depressed, maybe unhealed perspective, maybe the sower of discontent is someone who's made mistakes. Anybody made mistakes out there? Made some mistakes and haven't yet forgiven themselves. I mean, that's the problem. The mistake, not so much, depending on what the mistake was. But even the worst mistake is not as bad as the combination of the mistake and the lack of forgiveness for self and all others in the situation and the situation itself. So people who are caught up in that kind of discontent kind of have trouble being happy, kind of have trouble being around you being happy. There are all kinds of ways that these sowers of discontent can be others bringing their pain and negativity into your world. In what way could it be you? Have you ever been the sower of discontent? Ooh, I have. I do it as much with myself. I've never been as much an outward sower of discontent where I'm going around trying to rile people up to the negative. But I have noticed myself as I go deeper into my self-awareness and I go higher into my consciousness and deeper into living happy to be me, which means freeing myself from the aspects of myself that are actually weighing me down. Like I want to soar, people. It's one of my signature talks. This is how you soar. So I practice it in order to be able to talk about it from a place of knowledge and wisdom. But so I've noticed myself talking to myself doing negative conjuring. So I have fear about the future. And so what I call, from my corporate life, I used to do this, cautious optimism or guarding against the downside risk, very corporate speak, protecting against the downside risk, which basically means I'm kind of conjuring the negative so I can see what it's going to be like. And then I can build my protective wall or my protective game plan to circumvent it. But here's the problem with that. The trouble with that comes from what happens to my vibration while I'm doing that negative conjuring. So in my book, I talk about this wise person named Chuck Galosi, and he talks about negativitis. And he talks about the power of negativitis being that we hear everything we think and we say. We see everything we do. So negativity coming from inside me is twice as powerful, if not more. I'm sure it's exponentially more powerful than that which others try to blow into my space or shove into my space or demand into my space through their sowing seeds of discontent. Are you with me? Are you kind of connecting to, oh, I know just a few minutes ago, some ways that I was sowing some seeds that weren't supporting me. So here's the thing. We don't have to receive other people's poison. I'm going to put it in quotations, right? They're not really poisonous. They're just people who haven't necessarily empowered themselves to release themselves from whatever vibration they're in. They're not necessarily aware. They could be completely unconscious to what they're doing. There are potentially some people who are doing it on purpose. They want you to wallow where they are so they don't feel so alone. And so we can first go to compassion, right? Compassion is a very high vibration of seeing that something's going on and just understanding it. We don't have to go into it. We can just understand where it might come from, right? I can understand the part of me that wants to protect me, the part of me that feels vulnerable and unsafe, and so wants to conjure what's potentially negative in a situation so I can protect myself. It's a beautiful quality to a point. So rather than beat myself up, I can go, oh, there I am. My little girl inside is feeling scared. It's coming up, right? She's feeling scared. And so I'm trying to make sure that I'm protecting myself the best way possible. I'm marshaling all my energies and I'm getting protected. And I can compassionately look at someone else and hear someone else and experience someone else and just stay with myself. I don't have to go over to them, but stay with myself and be compassionate. Understanding, wow, what they must be feeling, thinking, seeing, internalizing, remembering, being afraid of, that's showing up in their sowing seeds of discontent. Even though the seeds can seem very, very negative and gross, I'm having a much easier time of looking at the others in my life who are doing it and seeing the hurt, scared, disconnected being that's running them. So start with compassion. Then the next thing is, if it's somebody else sowing it or it's you sowing it, don't let those seeds get planted in your soil. Meaning, it's one thing to hear them. It's one thing to feel, it's another thing to feel compassion. It's quite a different thing to start entertaining, to start playing around with the ideas, to start, like chiming in because you don't want the person to feel alone. Like, have you ever been a part of a conversation and you're kind of going, I don't know if I believe this, but I'm going to chime in because I don't want to be alone. And I think it's safer to be a part of the group. Like, we all want to belong somewhere. But this is your opportunity to notice what you're planting that you are going to harvest later. Like, seeds of discontent have to harvest, right? They have to harvest. You're going to plant them in your psyche, in your world. They're going to grow some yucky doodle plants. I don't know how to spell that, yucky doodle, but I'm going to try. Look in the chat on the comments later and I'll spell yucky doodle. So I don't want yucky doodle in my life. So it's pretty funny. I don't want no yucky doodle. Get your yucky doodle out of my space. You get away from here with that yucky doodle. So no yucky doodle. You become what you spend the most time entertaining within you. You become it. Those seeds that are planted become the expression of you. Before you know it, you're living, breathing, thinking, walking, talking negativitis. Things that we say, we hear. The things that we do, we experience. And we become. So here's how you get beyond this. So you start with compassion, which allows you to see and be with this person without being them, being in their energy. So compassion, I think, gives me a little bit of separation. Look at that conscious being of choice, as my dear friend and wise teacher Satyen Raja would say. Look at that conscious being of choice. Exactly like me, I'm a conscious being of choice, and so are they. And look where they are, and look where I am. And I can experience them without becoming one with what they're going through. So compassion gives me separation so that I can hold on to the strength of my conscious being and my conscious choosing. So that's number one. Number two is always go into the space of self-awareness. How did I attract this being? What am I being that is a direct match with that, which is why it's showing up in my life anyway, right? Something is calling it in, and knowing how much of me is doing the calling. Like, yodelee-hoo, what am I calling? So how can I maybe remove myself, back up? Like, I don't have to kick the person out of my life. Don't ever call me again, block them on all my social media. I could just back up, boop, let go. The beautiful thing about a mic drop is that you don't throw the mic to the ground, right? Oh, let me get my mic. It's right here. You don't throw it to the ground, right? You just let it go. So you can do a mic drop with the sowers of seeds of discontent in your life. Just step back and let go. From you would want to say, not kick yourself, beat yourself up, kick that energy out of you. No, can you just release? Let it go. Vibrate differently. Sow different seeds. So one thing you can do to up-level the seeds that you're sowing is spend time with possibility thinkers. Get into this energy, belief energy, which is all about possibility. Notice these things are right on my desk in the Hartley Center. Get into this energy, the energy of yes. Girlfriend created this for me. Get into the energy of yes. Become your own champion. This is my standing ovation for myself. Become your own champion. So get into possibility thinking. Sow those seeds with you. When you're with somebody who's sowing seeds of discontent, maybe pop in a little seed of possibility. It may not land on their fertile ground, but that's okay. You're doing it for you more than you are doing it for them necessarily. I was when I started thinking about this topic for today, I started hearing an old Tears for Fears song. If you know it, type it in the comments. The lyrics are, sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of love, sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of love, sowing the seeds. That's what we want to be doing. So it's fall equinox. Right now, you're reaping last season's fertilized seeds. But this is a perfect time, this is still a perfect time to think about what seeds you're sowing today for tomorrow's harvest. And what seeds are you sowing every moment for the next moment's harvest? The seeds that we plant right now are creating for us in the next moment. Remember, it's never about being better than him or her or the other. It's not a contest to beat the other people. It's really about calling yourself into being better than you were a minute ago. I'm always looking for what's the improved version of me more than I'm looking for. How do I do it better than you? Yay! Oh, yay! So that is today's Hump Day Happy Chat, coming to you from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. I'm delighted and grateful that you joined me, beginning the Libra season, which is my season, baby. Libra season is my season, and I have a feeling that next week's Hump Day Happy Chat is going to be on the birthday of the girl. That would be me. This gal will be having another solar return next week. And between now and then, very consciously and in an empowered and loving way, put yourself into a circle of love fertilizers. Sow the seeds of love in your life. So that's compassion, gratitude, tolerance, harmony, joy, peace, possibility, yes, belief, all those beautiful things. And getting into nature and quieting your conscious mind and going into gratitude will always help you. Many blessings. Thank you so much for joining me. And I would love it, love it, love it. I would love to receive, here's a Sowing the Seeds of Love. Please share this video. There's somebody in your circle of friends who could benefit. There's somebody in your circle of love who could benefit. You could be that seed of love in their life today. Yay! Hump Day Happy Chat. I'm Valerie Shepard at the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, signing off of today's Hump Day Happy Chat. Many blessings to you. Mwah. Clicking all the buttons and saying bye. Thank you for coming.